So look, we got the Phil Collins drummers first. This from Drumeo. This thing 2 hours long, so I ain't gonna be able to react to the whole thing. I've been checking it out. And I found the part that I forgot reacted to this little section right here. Because when I did the trailer reaction, I talked about his jazz fusion stuff. Everybody knows Genesis stuff, his soul stuff, but a lot of people don't know about his jazz fusion stuff that he did. So that's what we're about to react to. This portion of the video. This is about 40 minutes in. So we're gonna react to the jazz fusion segment of this Drumeo piece they doing on Phil Collins. See what they talking about. I mean, the Genesis. You know what? I'm gonna check out because they did mention him and Chester did some drum solos live on stage back in the day. So we're gonna have to check some of those out. And so, just some of his drumming in general. But I want to see that him and Chester go at it. Drum duo solo piece. Cause he did vocals, Chester live did drums, but there was part of the show where him being the drummer too. Him being the drummer, he did vocals and drums for the band, but live, of course, he's not gonna do both of them together. So he chose to do vocals live, and Chester did drums live in concert. But it was a particular part in the show where they both drum battle back and forth with each other. I want to check that out. We're gonna check that out. I'm gonna find a clip of that. But yeah, let's see what they talking about on this Drummers First piece about his fusion era.
Special, and you still don't see it nowadays, let alone back when they were doing it.
Did you enjoy writing that and being able to just have that as part of the set?
It's coming up.
The songs you were playing?
Oh yeah, that's where I lived, and I was very pleased to go back there.
That's his son right there.
Few people know that he had a band during that time or before that time. When I first got introduced to Phil Collins, and I heard this record.
My boy.
I heard about it before. I bought it and discovered Phil Collins only because it was an interesting name band, Brand X.
Phil Collins used to be in a band called Brand X, right?
I saw his name on drums.
That was his jazz fusion band called Brand X. A lot of people don't know about this. I'm willing to bet. Now you learning.
Collins. Oh, and then when I got home, I played it on the stereo. And man, it was so sensational, unbelievable.
It just seemed like Brand X was kind of the serious version of what he was able to do, right?
I mean, there's a lot of notes happening. It's like you hear Mahavishnu Orchestra and Return to Forever and Cobb. I mean, you hear all that stuff in there. It's like, oh my God.
Brand X. That's astounding, man. He changed the face of fusion music from that time.
It's interesting because I feel like, obviously now with newer generation, you ask people, who's Phil Collins, they're going to tell you the singer, or they'll tell you the guy who wrote In the Air. But then there's the people who know that you were the drummer of Genesis. But then there's the people who knew that you also did Brand X stuff. Because I think it's surprising when you hear the drumming on this.
Listen to Brand X, and your head will blow up. My mind was soon to be blown. It's mad.
What was the thought behind making it another mainly instrumental project?
Well, I was listening to quite a lot of fusion stuff. And one day I got a phone call from Island Records saying, did I fancy coming down to the studios because, they got a good band, but they need a drummer. And I went down another day and sat in with them and just played all afternoon. This music wasn't fashionable at all. So we just did very few shows. But I did aspire to them playing in America. So we did go to America once.
America is such a massive scope, like the States, so you become international.
That's I was trying to think how he balanced live performance, how he balanced tours with Brand X and Genesis. Genesis was his main thing. It's how he balanced the two. But like he just mentioned, Brand X didn't do shows very much. So okay, I was just curious.
From little island.
Cause I know when you play for multiple groups, it's kind of hard to balance both, especially if one group gonna get put on the back burner. Like how often is Stone Sour tour? How often they put out music? Cause Slipknot was the main thing. So, and Stone Sour was the side piece band, or I should say became the side piece band. You know, because I think Corey Taylor was in Stone Sour first. He joined Slipknot later, but then Slipknot just blew up and took over and became the main piece. And Stone Sour was the side piece. So yeah, you feel me? Let's continue.
It's a big step.
We played the Roxy in LA, and it had a curtain. So we'd run a tape. All edited together. And then the curtain would rise. Then it would lower again, you know. Yes, it was mayhem, chaos. And then one of the guitar players got bored and the singer got fired. And we became
Cool.
the Brand X that those
Baby.
people that do know about it, you know, that's the Brand X we became.
We've got a photo of Brand X. I think this is 78.
He was a genius. Well, he's still alive.
Okay.
Percy James.
Let's check this thing out. Wow. Yeah. Of course, concert time, you know, the one head at a time, there's no head on the bottom. Open at the bottom, okay. Nice kit here. Premiere. I like this says Premiere on the drum, on the bass drum. Yeah. This looks pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool.
John Goodsoul, the guitar player,
Okay.
died not long ago. But it was never quite as good as it could have been. The guys would never play the same thing twice, which, you know, can be inspirational, but it could also be frustrating.
I was just finishing up a record with Jack Bruce up at the Manor, and I got a call from Phil, and the call was, would I like to come and play in Genesis? But the problem was, I just signed with Jack. We've signed a record deal with our Robert Stigwood Records. I can't really do it.
Bill Bruford was there before Chester. I almost joined Yes, actually. I went to see them loads of times at the Marquee. One particular gig, the guy I was sitting next to said, you know, they're auditioning for a drummer. And I said, you know, no, but I loved what Bill did. Anyway, I went backstage in the little pokey dressing room, and John Anderson gave me his number. He said, sure, man, call me, you know, in his squeaky voice, and I never did. And I often wonder what would have happened if I had have gone.
Good thing he didn't join Yes. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it worked out. You know what I'm saying? His career, what it was. Genesis, the Brand X stuff, solo stuff, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't be here doing this, probably. Bill and I
Yeah,
became
it all
great
worked out for him.
friends, and when I took over the singing, he was in fact, I was rehearsing with Brand X, and he came down to the rehearsal and said, what are you doing? And I said, Peter's left, and we're going to go out on the road. So we're looking for a drummer so that I can sing, you know. And he said, well, why don't you ask me? I said, well, I didn't think you'd be interested, you know. And he said, no, I'd love to. I'm doing nothing. Bill was, you know, obviously he was a favourite with the fans because of his Yes connection, but Bill constantly put tripwires in front of him. You know, I tried to convince him that sometimes it's okay to do something that's a little predictable so that we know where we're going, you know. But I think he felt he'd been there with Yes, and he was going to be going to King Crimson at some point. So I don't think that interested him that much.
I thought,
I want to hear about Chester.
You're going to be playing with
Let's
Genesis.
hear about Chester.
Bill, I think, had just left. I think he had done the first
Okay.
tour, and he
Chester.
called Chester because when I got up to the rehearsal room, Chester was rehearsing with Genesis.
When Chester started playing live with Genesis and was kind of the guy, you know, and Phil would kind of come out and be the front guy.
I must admit, I asked Chester to join before I played with him, before I'd met him, because I'd heard the Roxy and elsewhere with Ralph Humphrey. And there was this one song called More Trouble Every Day.
Every drummer loved that one fill, which Ralph Humphreys and Chester Thompson played.
Da-da, da-da, da-da.
I don't know nothing about this, what they talking about. I know Chester from, he was in Mojave, what is that? No, not Mojave Issue. Weather Report, that's the one. He was in Weather Report for a hot minute. That's the group he was in.
That, you know, the riff that I put in everything now. And remember, none of the guys had met him. I'd only spoken to him when I asked him to join, and he came over, and the first thing I asked him to do was to play that riff. And then, you know, I played it as well, and we put it in wherever we could.
And the thing with Chester, I was wondering, or just with anybody, was Phil doing vocals? Like you know, he did vocals when I guess when Peter left, he took over doing vocals. So was he like on the albums? Was he still drumming? And was he doing vocals and drums? Like of course, when he took over vocals, you gotta get somebody to play drums. Was the drummers he got like Chester, whoever else? Was they just live drummers, or they also play on the records too? Because by him being a drummer, like I'm saying, did he do vocals on the records? Did he do both vocals and drums on the records? But then when it came to live performance, he just did vocals. Somebody else did the drums live, or was it he just did only vocals? Period. And then you had somebody else do all the drumming everywhere. But nah, he only did vocals by himself when it came to live performances. There was only a drummer for live performances because he only did vocals. He focused on vocals from live performances, but in the studio and all the records, he was drumming on everything and doing vocals. He was doing both on the records.
I think their chemistry was great.
I wondered about that, and so I looked it up.
He was a huge deal, but I think now
that's what they said.
Put him in the conversation when he really kind of should be there for some of the great
After
drummers.
Peter left, he did drums and vocals on the records, and then live before he just did vocals.
And continuing to be,
they had live drummers.
Such a big live band once my dad became the singer onwards, because having any drummer trying to replicate those parts, may not have worked out, but Chester, it made it seem like it was still a Genesis show. It didn't seem kind of weird because somebody else was playing drums on it. You don't have the most stable throne, so you should be careful going back.
Yeah.
The next album was Wind and Wuthering, which I think is kind of an underrated one of your albums with Genesis.
I think I'm going to end it here for this. I just wanted to, put out a video reacting to a little bit of this. But yeah, man, the thing with, when you perform live on stage, well, me personally, it would be, since I play drums, it would be cool to see the actual drummer perform on the record, do it live on stage. That's cool. But I guess for anybody, most people, as long as the drums sound genuine or stick to what was played on the record, that's all that matters, really. But me personally, I would love to see the actual drum. Like if Phil Collins played on the record, I want to see him play live on stage. But then again, I want to see the same singer from the record on stage. So you gotta kind of pick and choose. And since drums is in the rhythm, vocals is more in the forefront, I guess I'd rather have him do vocals live on stage versus drumming. Because, vocals is the forefront. So yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I wish I could put the whole thing, or rest of the whole thing. I said it's 2 hours. I ain't gonna be able to do all that, record all that and then edit it all. The last video I did, struggle. The premise reactions was struggle. The last premise reactions was that was like a 30-minute some video. I had to struggle getting that thing out. So I know I ain't gonna be able to do this. 2 hour thing. You feel me? So yeah, I'm enjoying it. This is pretty cool. Deep dive into Phil Collins. Yeah, man. I'll catch y'all. Subscribe, like, do all that, share these videos. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.